Hello and welcome to our frequently asked questions session in relation to supporting children in early childhood education and care settings grant program. Sit back, relax and allow us to answer your questions.
Where can I go for support in writing this grant application?
That is a very good question, Sarah. Essentially, you could go to your local government agencies to be able to help support you around writing your grant application, your local RDAs within your areas that you live in.
Your approved providers, line managers, area managers would be a great resource. You might even want to engage with your local primary schools that you may have an established network with to soundboard your ideas for your proposal and to support your application writing.
I think that sounds like a great idea, Sarah.
Yes, good question. Can I apply for this grant if my service is in receipt of another source of funding? The answer is yes, you can apply for this grant as long as your application for your project is not currently receiving any funding from an external source. So the intention of this funding is for you to think about something new, something innovative, and something that maybe you've been wanting to do for a while but you haven't had access to the funds to do so.
Can you give some examples of how I can spend this grant money? What kind of ideas?
Sure, there's a category for how you can shape up your proposals is quite broad, so you can be very creative. We do encourage you to think outside the box. Some examples that you can use this funding for and shape your proposal up would be around anything to do with the workforce development of your staff team. So to make sure that your staff team are well resourced and skilled and knowledgeable to improve developmental outcomes for children, you might want to think about drafting up what a professional development calendar may look like for your team for a 12-month project. The other opportunity would be that supporting you as a service to recruit and retain an early childhood teacher within your staff team. So that might be something that you want to shape up a proposal on for recruiting one to be a member of your staff team, or you might also want to explore how you might be able to purchase some early childhood teacher time resourcing from maybe the local primary school and be able to tap into an early childhood teacher that way. Also think about access barriers depending on your locality of your service. Sometimes there are access barriers for children to engage in quality early childhood education and care. That could be transport, that could be the cost, it could be fees, it could be circumstance. You might want to think about shaping up a piece of project work that will eliminate those barriers. So it might be able to use the funding to tap into transport. It might be able to look at how you can reduce cost as a barrier of access.
Even equipment and venue hire. So if you're in a service and you don't have a lot of resources, you might look at how you can tap into local services within your area around equipment hire to be able to support the care needs of those children in your service. It might even be simple things like your minor administration costs.
Yes.
So things like your home, your internet, those aspects, so those barriers around what might you require to help support you around your service provision.
Yeah,
Any
great
other
ideas.
resources? So any other resources and consumables you may need in regards to your day-to-day requirements of your role. So resources being your arts and crafts, your paints. It might be, different types of equipment that you need to be able to support those children.
Yeah, so they're great suggestions. So think about anything that's going to be able to enhance your curriculum work in particular and how you do support the development of children's learning within your service. Like we said, you can be creative, you can really think outside the box and reduce any of those access barriers for those families and children as well. Okay, so to find out more about this exciting new opportunity, you can access the information around the eligibility, certainly the priorities. There's a definite intent to what we want to do through the outcomes of these projects, the grant process and timelines. Where would people go to find that out?
They would actually go to our website. On our website, we've actually got all the information there. We've got the guidelines that steps you through the process in regards to how to apply, and that can all be found on our Child Australia website.
Fantastic, because that will also include what you cannot use the funding for.
And the timelines in regards to when I can apply and when the funding closes.
Great.
Thank you for tuning in today to our session. Again, if you have any other questions or require any further support, please do not hesitate to email the email address below.